Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Lupus living room. This is Suzanne Tierney speaking to you from the Lupus Foundation of America, Greater Ohio chapter. And I have a special guest today, and I always want to talk about exercise, but for some reason I don't do it. So today we have a gentleman that I know. He does some work at my house with someone in my family. And I said, we should share the information. I think he has a host of information that is going to be valuable to all of my fellow Lupians. And as always, we don't endorse a product, we don't endorse a cure, and we don't endorse companies. So this gentleman does have his own company. We're going to talk about it, but I'm not endorsing it. Okay.
Exactly.
But I think it has value. I think you have value. So today I'm going to screw this up. Rick Delarosa.
Correct.
How's that? From Blamlessbody Fitness. So hi, Rick. How you doing today?
I am blessed. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I as well. Blessed more than I deserve. So Rick is into exercise. So why don't you give us a commercial about you and how you got to where you're at and what you're trying to do in the world today?
I'm a Clevelander by nature. I was born here in Cleveland, and I went to Cleveland State University. Graduated in 1991. I designed my own major in sports physiology. What that basically is increasing performance and injury care and prevention. So you kind of mirror two fields together, performance and also when you're out in the field, you get injured. So I want to be able to take care of both of those types of things. And so throughout my career, I've been in the industry for over 33 years. I've had my own studio. I've done corporate fitness downtown. I've done Valley Total Fitness fitness director when they were around. I've been around the gamut a few times. I had my own studio. And then eventually I took a few clients I had with me and I started my own app and my own website. So basically I'm now able to do what I do globally, basically because of the internet. And that's kind of where I stand right now.
So Blamlessbody Fitness, what's the blameless? What does that mean?
Well, it's based on 1 Thessalonians 5:23. May your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless before the coming of the Lord. So that's where I got the blameless from. Blameless means without spot or wrinkle. And my goal is to encourage people to seek the Lord in their pursuit of their health.
Okay, so Rick has a different approach to things, which I think is great. You have 3 facets, 3 pillars to your business. So share those pillars with me. You talk about food, exercise, and religion as a whole, or belief system.
Correct.
And whatever your belief system is out there, we respect it. It's just This is just something that Rick does. So tell me how the pieces all came together here.
Okay, so we talk about spirit, soul, and body. And the spirit, exercise your faith in spirit. Actually, I have a book that explains all this. Is basically prayer, talking to God, and tell him what your problems are. Spill your guts. Do what you got to do to let him know what's bothering you, what's troubling you, because he wants to know that. Just like we have a conversation with each other face to face to get to know each other. That's all he wants, that personal relationship. So that's step number 1. Number 2 is exercise your faith in soul, which is in the Greek, that's your mind. So when you read the scriptures of the Bible, that renews your mind. It's kind of like a weapon, a word weapon. Mm-hmm. Okay, like First Thessalonians 5:23 is what I was talking about before, is the foundation for what I do right now. But Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. So in other words, we tend to try to take everything on ourselves and we can't do it. You want to give the burden to him so he can be able to direct us and encourage us and give us peace in the midst of what we're going through.
Okay, so you put faith in this component.
Correct.
And then you work on diet next?
On the body, exercise your faith in body. Ephesians 5:29 says, I don't hate our body, but we feed and care for like Jesus Christ does the church. So feeding their body is where I came up with what I call the 10 commandments of eating. It's an eating habit system that basically goes from day to day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. The step number 1 is eating a healthy breakfast. I'm just going to go through the pillars here.
Sure.
The second is eating every 3 to 4 hours. That's what we call meal timing.
Every 3 to 4 hours. I'd be
Correct.
500 pounds. Could you eat every 3 to 4 hours, Chris?
Well, here's the thing. It's what you eat, of course, but the reason why you want to eat at a certain time frame is because your digestive system has to work on a timing system. If most of us tend to eat erratically throughout the course, especially when we're working, the problem is your digestive system doesn't get in sync. So whether you eat a lot or little, if you're in sync, of course, with exercise, then your digestive system can process the food and help you along, give the energy you need and so forth to get you through from day to day. especially if you're
The
exercising.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner theory that most of us grew up on, you're saying is too far apart and we need to have smaller meals in between?
Yeah, I mean, it's depends on the individuals, but breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's actually time frames I studied that actually are the ideal times: 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock,
You should write this down.
3,
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, 12 o'clock,
Mhm.
and 6 o'clock. Well, 3 o'clock also as well. So 9, noon, 3 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. Those are ideal times to eat. Now, you're not always going to hit those, obviously, for on a day-to-day basis.
Nothing early in the morning?
No, you don't.
Some people get up early.
Yeah, you can actually adjust that schedule, but that just gives you like a format to kind of follow, get as close as you can to that. And then again, your body will start to sync with that. But if we're eating, some of us go to work, maybe eat something for breakfast, don't eat till we come home from dinner. And that's not good because you're not fueled. I mean, if you're running on empty in a car, eventually you're gonna have to stop somewhere to get gas. Otherwise, you're gonna get stuck. And that's why people feel, I mean, anything from fogginess, brain fogginess to just low on energy, because food is our fuel. But we have to learn how to manage that the right way. So again, timing of your meals every 3 or 4 hours is the ideal time. Did research on this. I didn't make it up myself. Again, those are the pillars. That's a goal each day. And number 3 is eat fruits and vegetables. We've been saying that since our grandparents would say that. Fruits and vegetables are fiber, which is the main driving force to keep our blood circulating, things like that. Keep from our veins, arteries getting clogged up. A plethora of things, vitamins and minerals. Ideally the whole food sources. Number 5 is pre and post workout nutrition. Now, this is more of a strategy that we usually use when I was working with professional athletes, because they have to be fueled properly throughout the course of their workouts. But we, as regular people, should be able to do the same thing. In other words, like drink water during your workout, or like a pre and post workout drink, or a protein shake, an hour or two before bedtime, or sometimes even during your workout. It depends on the individual, what they're able to put into a schedule. But the idea is prepare yourself, because when you work out,
boys eat and drink weird stuff around here.
do they?
They're shaking stuff up, and aren't you?
There you go.
It's a
See,
protein shake. He does something with the white paste or something.
He does like oats.
Yeah,
He does, like,
okay.
an
Oats.
flour type of situation. It has like 50 grams of protein.
yeah, fiber and protein. There you go. It keeps you full. Satiety is what they mean by keeping yourself full until your next meal. So yeah, fiber through
Does
the
that
through
count
the
as
oats.
one of the meals?
Sure, you can drink it or eat it. A lot of us, for busy, I tell my clients to drink it. It's that simple, for the
It's
clients.
interesting because
yeah.
boys, Chris, and everybody knows out there that I have my 2 wingmen, Chris and Alex, and they eat weird. But they don't eat weird. They eat different than me, and I am Italian, so that's understandable. But they got these messes in the kitchen with these shakers, and sometimes they're green, sometimes they're yellow, sometimes it looks like paste. It's like, what are you doing? And he's a rice bowl nut. He's got rice bowls all the time. He's pretty disciplined. You're doing a good job. Is that to be healthy, Chris?
Yeah, I want to build muscle.
You want to build muscle?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have times, we have fruits, we have vegetables.
Number six is learn about consume good fats, which is very important, especially for your husband, because we talk about brain health and good fats, healthy fats, which are the mono and polyunsaturated fats, not the saturated fat, of course. Olive oil. What I do really promote is what we call spirulina, because spirulina is what fish eat. Now, we know fish oil and things like that is good for the omega-3s, but what do fish eat? I got to figure that out. Fish, what do they eat as their source? They eat green algae. That's their food source, and that's the most richest, densest food on the planet. Now,
We're not eating that stuff.
no, but you can get it in pill. Now, what I do is you can get it in pill form, or I get the powder form. I just mix it with juice, and you really don't taste much of it at all. But the point is, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people don't understand that when COVID came out, I was already doing this regime. And one of my clients actually had COVID. I was in contact with him for 2 weeks. And the next thing I know, he's in the hospital on a respirator. And I said, Mitch, I didn't get anything, neither did my wife. And I was trying to figure out why that happened. Well, it's because I've been taking spirulina, and I did the research. I have blogs on that to back that up. It produces, it helps block the spike protein that causes COVID up to a 75% protection rate. So you don't even need the medicine for that. You just take spirulina and exercise and eat right, and you're perfectly fine, even up to this day. But But again,
And what is olive oil doing for us?
olive oil is good too. Olive oil is a very natural source of monounsaturated fats, and you can take a table. I even told your husband to add that as a tablespoon a day, and you can throw it on your salads, whatnot. And it's the purest form of healthy fat. You can, along with avocados, things like that, nuts and seeds.
So you tell me you stay away from butter.
Well, I mean, butter's good, but I actually, I have Earth Balance, which is it tastes like butter, but it's a plant-based butter. And I mean, to me, it tastes like real butter. And since we're on this subject, with my clients, I had them go what they like to eat, go on a spectrum. If you can make a healthier version of that food without giving it up, so you don't have to feel like you're on a diet. Mm-hmm. That's really important too, because people can't you give them a piece of paper and eat what's on the piece of paper. It's not going to work for them. So I learned through all my experience that keep them where they're at. Can you make a healthier version of food, like bread? Okay, you have Wonder White Bread. It's probably the worst.
Some pivots, yeah.
You have the worst one over here, Wonder White Bread, to like maybe Dave's Killer Bread at this other end of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. How far are you willing to go towards that? And by doing that, you're going to improve your health just by doing that. Mm-hmm. I'm just giving an example of one like staple food. So that's how I go about with clients in terms of this food in general. So you don't feel like.
That was 6. Did we have any more?
Oh, number 7 is 10% cheat, which is actually
10% what?
Cheat. In other words, you have 2 meals, you can eat whatever you want.
Oh, we're going to cheat. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you're not on a diet.
No deprivation.
Correct. So basically you have 2 days out of the week, you eat whatever you want, but 2 days is it. It doesn't mean every day, because then you're defeating the purpose of that. So it gives you some freedom. Okay. I found myself, when I was the first one to do this, I don't see myself going beyond 2, because it's a habit. So I'm teaching habits, not forcing you to diet and do something you're not going to do.
Yeah, it's really hard
because it becomes automatic,
especially as we age.
Sure, and you get really stuck on something.
Stuck on habits.
Right, and I work with people. I say, can you do this much? What about do this one thing for now? Once you do that, let's work on another thing. One thing at a time approach is very effective for people, because they're willing to do that instead of being thrown a whole bunch of things, and say, I can't do all this. And they don't even tell
you. You're sitting here across me. You know me this year, but you didn't know me before. So I've had a weight problem all of my life. Mm-hmm. Okay. And an exercise problem all of my life. When I was young in school, early on with lupus, this is where the lupus comes in now, is that I was misdiagnosed for so many years. But as a young child, they thought I had heart issues. So they wouldn't I never had a day of gym in school. And I don't even know if they have gym in school today. They still have gym. Okay, I was never allowed to have gym. Okay, I always had to go to a study group. I was never allowed to have a bike or go swimming or do any of those things. So it was like, okay, so I, right off the get-go, I felt kind of damaged because I was directed wrong, and exercise was not part of my life.
Right. Yeah.
But I've had that yo-yo of weight, gain 50 pounds, lose 50 pounds, gain 50 pounds, lose 50 pounds. And I've been on all those diets, none of the recent fads, because at this point in my life, it's like, it's a fight that I kind of gave up with. Shame on me. But my point is, one of the big things was the deprivation I always felt on these diets. Because you're right, they would give you a list and say, go home and eat this, 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 and this. And it was so robotic, and it was nothing that I really liked anyhow. So I was doomed before I even started.
Right.
Yeah. So deprivation played a big part in following a diet plan. And I'm sure my fellow Lupians, can attest that they probably feel the same way.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, so we're at number 7, which is 10% cheat. Have the freedom to eat whatever you want. And I can tell you this, that even up to number 7, once you start adopting these and you find the right strategy and it becomes automatic, you won't find yourself as a slave to the things that you shouldn't be eating that you know better.
Does your body get used? So I'm convinced I'm a sugar addict. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I have to have it, because I'm the farmer's daughter. I grew up on a small farm in Valley View, and we loved going home from school and just pulling the beets out, or the kohlrabi, or the fresh tomatoes, and start popping. Even to this day, I love vegetables and fruits. I can live off of them, but I do have a tendency towards sugar, that when I get upset or agitated or overworked, perhaps I get this intense crave for sugar. But I find the more I eat, the more the crave I get.
Mm-hmm. And I guess you're probably alluding to more like the processed sugars through like desserts, things like that.
Cookies,
I mean, the best thing I tell people to eat is an apple. apple.
Crisp cold apple.
Isn't that coincidence that the apple was the vehicle of sin? when
Oh,
when
no.
Eve, Dad says, "Do not eat from that tree," and what does she do? She ate that apple. Now,
Oh,
in all intents and
gosh.
purposes, apples are healthy, right?
Yeah.
But
I
in
like
this
that
case,
apple. Yeah,
don't
sure.
eat from that tree.
Anybody go? Do you ever go in
Yeah.
Heinen's or Giant Eagle now? There's
Right.
50 kinds of apples. I'm
Yeah.
not kidding you. Is that really necessary? Really, is that necessary? If you walk into the grocery store, you're going to see a row of apples. There's yellow apples. There's
Crispy. There's a million different.
And when did an apple become $2? By the way, okay, you used to be able to buy a bag of apples.
Yeah.
So wow, I'm just complaining. Okay, all right. So we're at 7. We're at 8.
Eight.
What happens here?
So 8 is planning ahead. So that could be anything from planning your meals, scheduling your workouts, going shopping for healthier fare. It could be in any number of things, planning, trying to actually get this into your lifestyle, any number of things that I would have to sit down with that particular individual and help them navigate in that area. Because that's a huge area as far as planning, especially if they're busy at work or whatnot. How can you get this? By the way, exercise can take as little as 4 minutes. You don't need to do an hour in the gym and things like that. It's not about duration. It's about
Do you get to
intensity.
exercise, Chris?
What?
Do you get to exercise?
Yeah, I exercise every morning at 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. We need to talk more often. I don't know that much about you. Chris is new. He's been with us for 6 months. He came from New York. But I notice him and Alex have good habits, though, because they do prepare their meals. I maybe once a week they'll say, "Hey, what about Chinese food or something?" But they do bring their little lunch boxes in, and they got all these little
See?
containers.
It's all about balance.
Yeah,
See, I mean, God's using people. Yeah.
you're so disciplined.
2 cheat meals a week or something. I usually just do 1 cheat meal. I'm pretty good with it.
See, I'm pretty generous.
Is this for health or weight, or you're trying to build muscles? You want to be
All
a
of
movie
it.
star? What?
All
All
of
of it?
it, yeah.
Okay.
But why you give yourself that opportunity to eat something off the farm, right?
Yeah.
Because so you don't feel like you're constricted
Yeah.
with
I'm
diets.
so proud of you.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's really good because you're young. If you keep those good
Yeah,
habits,
at his age.
wow,
Oh,
yeah.
heck yeah.
My godson Richie, he's a little pork butt from the time he was born, but he doesn't. There could be a thunderstorm, there could be a tsunami, okay, and he doesn't care. He works out every day.
Mhm.
He eats that stupid turkey or chicken or is it protein, whatever it is. He's so disciplined.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care. And if his friends want to go out, that's okay. But we're working out. We're
Yeah.
gonna fit it in every
It's all
day.
about balance.
Yeah. So I mean, planning ahead. Number 9 is eating, drinking clean. That pretty much self-explanatory. And the best way I can explain that initially to people is look at your food labels of your current food that you're eating in your house. If you cannot pronounce or understand exactly what that ingredient is, you're not eating clean. So then, therefore, let's go shopping and find a healthier version of that particular food. So again, reading your food labels is probably the first place you should start.
Painful.
It's painful,
So
but
small. The print's so small. It's really hard. My sister said to me, because I don't drink coffee, I take so many pills that I got ulcers in my esophagus, so I don't drink
Yeah.
coffee.
So is your name Chris?
Okay.
Chris, now would I be correct in saying that I'm sure you look at the labels of food that you eat?
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Just to make sure nothing's terrible in it.
There you go.
Make sure nothing is like off the rail. Like it's really hard to avoid like seed oils. It's
Mhm.
really hard to, but I try and eat clean where I'm avoiding those type of oils because those oils will harm you. But it is hard to like.
So is your whole family doing this, or
No, just
is
me.
your sister doing just you?
Just me.
Good for you. I love when people take the time just for you. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It's been great. I love it.
So eating. So we have 2 other foodies in here in the office. Ladies, they're not here today. They make me absolutely nuts. Okay. One a vegan. Is she a
Yes.
vegan? And
Yep.
the other one has food allergies.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And I used to bring leftovers in all the time. All right. And we would have giant salads and cookouts in the park. I had to stop because this one can't have that, and this one can't have this, and this one's disciplined for this. And it's like, okay, give up.
So Chris, would you say a big, huge benefit of this that you just look and feel better because you're living this type of lifestyle?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to feel better about myself.
Mhm.
It was, I tried to like get into this lifestyle when I was in college, but it was harder because I didn't have all the means to have this certain type of diet that I have now.
Is healthier food more expensive, you think?
I mean, I think it was just more when I was in college, it was more about just trying to survive and not worrying about taking care of myself. But now that I have a more set life and a more routine lifestyle kind of thing, it's been way easier for me to do it here. And
Good.
Yeah. And then number 10 is actually sleep, 7-8 hours of restful sleep all the way through. Now, that means you don't get up
7 to
even
8
once.
hours?
7-8 hours is the recommended time frame, undisturbed. So, and the first thing I tell people is, look, you need to be in bed by a certain time, not asleep, but
A
be in
habit.
bed.
You need a habit.
These are all habits, yeah. And then within 4 to 6 days, or at least 4 days in a row, maybe even 6 if you can, so you can actually set your circadian cycle, which is your sleep cycle. As soon as you lay down, your body starts to say, okay, now it's time to get into a sleep or resting mode. Now, you can't have a TV going on, but you can read you can read a book, or you can have music on that's, restful, whatnot. But no electronics, no phone, nothing that's going to, you're looking at the news or whatever, something bad. That's not good. That's going to disrupt your cycle. So, and then the reason for sleep is so important because when you sleep, your body repairs itself. So, especially if you have a chronic
That's what's
disease.
wrong with me and my fellow Lupians. We don't sleep well. Our sleep is off. We have pain. I can't speak for all of us, but most of us have fibromyalgia on
Mhm.
top of the lupus or other problems. It's sisters and brothers, these other autoimmune diseases. So by the time we get to bed, we're just laying there and it's like pain. It's like, oh dear Lord, help me, it's pain. And for me, I can distinguish fibromyalgia pain from lupus pain, from neuropathy pain. Those are different pains. And it'll take me a long time to fall asleep. Okay.
So, with that, since we're on the feed your body part, the key is you want to be on an anti-inflammatory diet. Now, obviously, most of us know what that means, but the first thing is you want to load up on fruits and vegetables, number one. Number two is you want to eat lean proteins, and you want to hydrate yourself. You want to be drinking at least a gallon of 64 ounces of water a day.
How many
64 ounces.
of water? Is there a difference if we drink bottled water or tap? What is the going on with the bottled plastic bottle?
Well, you know what? I think as far as the water goes, I mean, whatever you can get your hands on at this point, do it because your body's 60% water. Now, what does that mean? I mean, your body, what does water do in your body? It helps you digest your food. It helps you regulate your body temperature. It does so many things. It floats, it gets rid of toxins in your body when you go to the bathroom, for example. But it's so important. It's probably right up there with sleep, but we don't get enough. And I find with mostly seniors that I deal with, my oldest client being 100, they don't drink enough water. So when you don't drink enough water, dehydrated, that means you're fatigued.
Water. We're not talking pop, Kool-Aid.
No, water, just straight water. Your brain fog. I mean, there's a laundry list of things that happen because you're not drinking enough, just simply drinking enough water. So, I know I'm getting back to the water thing, but I think that's got to be something really driven home, especially for those with lupus, any inflammatory autoimmune type of thing. You need to drink more water. Now, again, with clients, I help them work on one thing at a time approach. So I told you my wife actually taught me how to drink more water. I have a bottle of water set by my nightstand, and I train myself to, when I get up, I take a sip. And I go downstairs, I have my supplement regime, and I drink the rest before I leave. That I developed a routine. You have to develop routines in your life so it becomes automatic. You can't, Chris can attest to that. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do this. You have to day in and day out. So you don't even think about it, you just do it automatically. And that's what Blamlessbody Routine is all about. It's a routine. And once you get through these 10 commandments of eating and you find a routine that's going to fit your lifestyle, it'll eventually become automatic. And then that's the most important part. And when you exercise, I focus on the 5 components: your body composition, not your body weight. Your body weight has nothing to do with your health. Your composition of your weight consists of fat, muscle, and bone. I look at what percentage of muscle and fat you have on your body, internal and external. So, and in muscle mass, those are 3 things you want to look at and assess when you're talking about body composition, because they need to be trending in the right direction. You need to lose fat, and keep muscle mass, especially as you age, because the less muscle mass you have, the less strength potential you have. And that's why people start falling and so on and so forth. So with
Darn
that,
it.
yeah, with that said, and then you have muscle endurance, muscle strength, cardiovascular endurance, and mobility or flexibility. There's 5 components of fitness, and every one of those 5 are just as important for you with lupus or any other chronic disease as it is for the average youth out there that's want to improve in their athletic performance. Those 5 components are detrimental for each individual on the planet. So I assess those and see where those people fall. And then every month we reassess to see where they're improving or not improving. And that's where we can then make adjustments in their program. So the process I just described to you is just as effective for people with lupus as people without any chronic disease. It's the same format. It's just customized for that individual.
So we talked real brief about belief systems, okay, power of prayer, bringing it together, along with diet.
Mhm.
Diet was a very big component.
Sure.
And how many times we eat a day, water, fruits, vegetables, the oils, 2 days we get to cheat, planning ahead, and then and sleep 7 to 8 hours. So now that's a problem for a lot of us. So how do we work on that? If we're laying in the bed and we can't sleep, I was told get out of the bed. If you're laying in the bed for an hour and you can't sleep, get out of the bed. Okay. Now, I went through pain management for years. So, just to share what I learned there is no TV. Okay. When you go to bed, you prepare to go to bed. Okay. It's a big deal for you to go to bed. Number 1 is make your bed every day. Because when you go home, you get to crawl into a clean bed. It takes 5 minutes to make a bed. It's more appealing to have a pleasant bed made than to climb into a crumpy old rumpy bed. Okay, so number 1, make your bed. Okay, it's your first exercise of the day. You get out of bed, you make the bed. Okay, but prepare for sleep. No TV, no phone, no electronics. You can read, you can do breathing exercises. If your mate is with you, you can talk and have a conversation. But you need to prepare. You can pray, you can read a book,
Read the Bible.
you can color, you can do pencil art. You need to calm your soul and your body. And do not, if you need to know about the news, listen to the news. Don't watch the news because it's a photographic image that goes to your head that you see. And when you sleep, you're going to be replaying it. That's what I learned in pain management.
Now, what you can add to that, so it's a huge component because exercise is medicine. When you exercise, what's the major benefit it's going to be for you and everybody else out there is endorphin effect.
Well, that rises my endorphins. It's not going to let me rest, though.
No, the endorphin effect will make you actually calm you. Those are the relaxing hormones that'll help you relax. Sometimes you can take a walk, or maybe you have a treadmill, walk on a treadmill, or just take a couple laps around your kitchen, just to kind of unwind a little bit. And it acts as a sleeping pill in some cases. It doesn't work for everybody, but sometimes that might be a good thing to try because that will help you get into that mode of sleep. So that's just an additional potential thing that can help.
One thing I had done with my support group a few years back was we had blessing bowls, okay? And we had these cute little jars that we made, and then we would count our blessings for the day and really think about it and sit there and write the blessings and throw it in the jar, okay? And then when we would have bad moments, we'd go back to the jar and pull them out and remind us of the blessings. The other thing we did was, it was something fun too. It'll come to me. I have CRS. I have brain fog.
Drink more water.
It was journaling. Okay. So the other thing in pain management, my doctor would tell me before you go to bed, if you have anxiety or if you have a message or you want to take something off your chest and take it off, is you start journaling. Okay. Whether good, bad, or either way, you're putting it somewhere. You're like putting it in a drawer. You're putting it somewhere. And more importantly, come back the next day and read it and see how you feel about it. So I believe that journaling is another good tool to help us go to bed. But we're moving along because we're going to run out of time here. Let's talk about exercise. It sounds painful to me. Okay. And, and I know the guys, they drop me off at the door. They're very attentive. They don't want me walking, doing steps. Moving is painful for a Lupian. Okay. And the other problem is that we look okay. I look okay. Okay. You can't see my inflammation. Well, you can see my inflammation, but my hands or my feet or my ankles or my hips or my whole body is inflamed. What baseline, simple exercise can we do?
Walking.
Just plain old walking.
It's plain old walking. Now, also,
Mhm.
another thing you can do, because everybody pretty much has steps in their house, you can do what I call a step up. You step up right, left from one step, right, left, then right, left, up, down, down type of pattern. You can do that for any amount of time. I use it as actually a 3-minute step test to measure recovery from exercise as a cardiovascular testing um, mode of exercise. But you can use that as a form of exercise because everybody has a step. And one of the methods I use is called Tabata method. It's an interval training program where you go 20 minutes of movement, 10 seconds of rest. You do 8 consecutive sets like that. And that's only a 4-minute in duration workout. But it does so much effectiveness because it's an interval program. It's higher intensity, short duration. And that type of exercise I use strictly for seniors, whether you have lupus or not, because you need to increase your intensity to make a change in your body. Most people, especially as seniors, we tend to be slow, long durations. That does not do anything for your health unless you, for example, let's say you walk around the block one time at your normal speed. At some point, your body gets used to that. You would have to either go walk 2 laps, then 3 laps, then 4 laps for your body to make a better adaptation and improve your health, or you would have to walk faster. I would tell people walk fast and slow. In other words, interval training, high intensity, short duration bouts for a certain part of time is the most effective way to make an impact in your health, whether you have chronic disease or not, especially if you have a chronic disease.
Perfect segue to the Walk to End Lupus Now, right? So we have the Walk to End Lupus Now is coming up in May. We've changed the date. Lupus Awareness Month, due to our state advocacy initiatives, is officially in May. And I think the walk is May 3rd down on the flats, east end of the flats. We have a new route. Okay. Be prepared to walk. Okay. There's a new route without as many hills. And of course, there's the short version as well. Is it 3K? Is it a 3K?
3 miles.
3-mile walk? 3-mile walk. What is it?
And then the butterfly stroll.
And there's a little stroll that I'm going to try to walk the walk this year, I think, Chris. Okay, someone else can do the
I'll walk with you.
Oh, walk with you. Walk with me while I can. How's that? But, thank you, Rick. This is all good information. We'll have you back another time to continue the conversation. I know that this is beneficial to my fellow Lupians. And so this is Rick Delarosa from Blamlessbody Fitness. Do you have a website or an email?
Yes, blamlessbodyfitness.com.
If you want to check them out. Again, I'm not endorsing anything. All good, solid information here. And thank you. And thank you. Remember this information. You always check with your doctor. He's the best person who can treat you. This is education and sharing, and no endorsements made here. But thank you for joining me at my Lupus living room. And I hope to see you real soon. Again, real soon. And if you'd like to join us, just call the office. We'll have you on if you have something great to share, even if it's just for your story. Okay, everybody, you take care. Bye-bye. So this is. Remember, there is no I in lupus, but there is an us. Until next time, this has been my Lupus Living Room with the Lupus Foundation of America's Great Ohio Chapter. For more information and resources to help you in your lupus journey, please visit lupusgreatohio.org or call 1-888-NO-LUPUS. The funding for my Lupus Living Room is an earmark from the state of Ohio and managed by the Ohio Department of Health. Your physician is the best person to help you in the treatment of lupus. The information you learned here today can be discussed with your doctor, as your physician knows your medical history best. Please do not make any medical changes without consulting your physician first. As with any treatment, stay educated and get information from trusted sources.